What's up, beautiful people? It's Mike James, founder of P&Z Life Coaching, and I'm bringing you another episode of Black Business Booming. I have another awesome guest. I'm so excited to continue this segment on my YouTube to just highlight some Black businesses that are doing so many great things in many different facets. I'll have creatives on here, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs in all different areas. So I'm so excited about my guest for today, someone who I've hooked up with in the last few months. And I'm just excited to let you all get filled in on this awesome person. So, brother, go ahead and introduce yourself and let people know, where you're from and all about your business, sis.
All right, bro. I mean, I hope I have the same energy as you do, but then I'm glad that I'll just do it my own way. Well, my name is Bayonle Arashi. Basically, let me just summarize it. I'm a football guy, but as we call it back here, soccer guy. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a broadcaster, and I'm an author. So that's as little I can tell you. I'm from Nigeria originally. I live in Houston, Texas. It's been home for about 6 years now. Right now, I work as an entrepreneur on the side, trying to build my business huge, and while I still try to contribute my quota to the state of Texas, growing it. I recently released a book titled Roadmap to a Successful Football Career, football in the sense of soccer, but the book also does the same thing for any other sport because it is the same system that works. And I'm also building a company, a tech company called Scoutballers Soccer Recruiting, where it's a marketplace where athletes get to create their video of them playing the game, and they'll have the opportunity to be able to get scholarship from colleges and university in America or any other part of the world that they want to go on with their career. I also own a football academy back home in Nigeria, where in the future, in the nearest future, of course, we hope to help these kids to combine school education and developing their soccer skills in order for them to become someone in life. I'm a very passionate person when it comes to do with young people, especially young men. I'm very passionate about men because I feel the world has changed, and then we have to also always be backing each other to encourage ourselves to be what we have to be. We are the foundation of every family, and then we have to always live to that height.
Definitely. I love that, man. And, when you started, you were saying match my energy, but we met on the Combos app, and if I'm that ball of energy, man, you're that ball of passion, and I think that's why we connected and linked up so smooth from the beginning, man. Because that's one thing with you. When I first came across your profile on that app, there was no one can say that you have any arrogance or any kind of pompous attitude. It's just humble and that passion. And another thing that we link on is that passion for the youth and that next generation, and instilling a lot of good qualities into them. So I really love that. So, man, founding the Midas Soccer Institute in your home of Nigeria, where you're from, and also Scoutballers. So with doing that, when did you start these businesses, or starting your businesses, also becoming an author? When did you start these businesses, and what inspired you to do so? I feel like I'm jumping to the conclusion and knowing where you'll go because of your passion, but what inspired you to do so?
You're right. I mean, you're right. There is no best way to ask the question. What inspired me has always, for me personally, you said it, has always been the passion, the drive. Number one, as one of my mentors used to say, Dr. Miles Monroe, he says, you have to live for something. There must be a purpose for living. If you don't have a purpose for living, then you're not supposed to be here. One of the things that drives me the most is the fear of poverty, right? I grew up you don't want to have an idea of how it was growing up in Nigeria. Many people do not have the real picture of it because they don't share the exact picture of how it was. But I have the right to either use that as a motivation for myself to become someone and help other people, or to be a victim, to have that victim mentality which most people have, like, oh, okay, my parents were poor, so I should be poor. No, not for me. I just feel like I have to branch out. I have to be different. I have to cut off all the limitations that I have or that my parents have, and then get out of it. I started my career, as I said, as a broadcaster. If I want to go at that level, he will be here for the next 1 hour, right? Because I was employed as a technician in 1999 after finishing from Government Technical College. It's a vocational institute because after my high school education, my dad couldn't afford to like send me to university, but he felt like, okay, why can't I encourage this young man to go to a vocational institution? And back then, the vocational college, people used to think that it is actually I'm trying to find the right word. The people that have nothing to do in life are the people that go to that kind of colleges, right? But believe it or not, that was actually the real solid foundation that I had for myself, right? I went to the college for 3 years. I studied radio and television communications. That was what I studied at the technical college. So when I finished in 1999, I got a job at a TV channel in Lagos as a technician, but whenever I go there, those days were the days of analog transmission, where you have to power up the transmission by your hand. And then, so whenever I power it on, I will run away. I will go to the master control room to watch what they're doing there in the master control room. So I didn't know my chief engineer was watching me. So after about 2 months, he just called me like, son, I don't think you're going to be an engineer. I think you're going to be a production person. So I'm going to transfer you to the production department. And that was it for me. So he transferred me to the production department. There I met a mentor who is late now, of course. He was the head of sport for the channel, and he was also the TV director. So he helped me to learn a lot about production, camera work, directing, producing, all sort of stuff. And then from there, I used to watch him presenting his show, right? So after like two or 3 years, I had to move on to a bigger organization now. And that particular one, they drafted me to specific sport department where we have opportunity to go around to follow the country national team. They're called the Super Eagles whenever they're playing a qualification. The Super Eagles is the senior national team, just like USMNT right here. Then the junior ones too. So that was where the passion for the game really, really grew for me. And I also had the opportunity to go to like 3 Africa Cup of Nations. It's huge. It's like the European Championship. I don't think that, and of course they use it, they call it Copa America, right? So from those experiences, after I came back from one in 2006, I started thinking of the idea of what can I do? Like I said, like I'm always scared of poverty. Like, how can I get out of this salary? And the worst part of it was that the big organization I was working for at that time, they owe salaries. Believe it or not, bro. They owe sometimes as much as 6-7 months salaries. How do you expect such person to survive? So I started thinking, and of course I was a daddy early in my life. I had my first child when I was 25. Glad I'm still married to the woman till date, but that's another story entirely. So I created the Soccer Academy, and then we started training the boys. And in 2008, a friend of mine that I met while I went to Germany early in 2006 told me, hey, bro, why not come to Germany for a soccer championship with I said, is that possible? He said, yeah. So we processed the academy on the 17 boys. We took them to a tournament in Germany and Denmark. We applied for 18 players, 3 officials. They denied the two official visas, 4 players. So they gave 13 players and myself visa. So it was just 14 crew. And we went to both Germany and Denmark. We won the championship, right?
Wow.
We didn't just participate. We won both tournaments at the under 17 level. And that was like, when we came back, it was huge. I mean, I was this little guy, and everybody, he started hearing the news. And then I quit my job. So I focused on the academy since that time. And from there on, I started producing my own shows. So for me, most importantly, it's always been about passion, the fear of poverty, and of course, making a difference among young people.
Right. That's so awesome. And it's almost, I feel like a lot of times your gifts, that adage that your gifts will make room for you. It's almost like a lot of times your pathway is just dug out, and you just have to make sure that you're walking in it, because every step of the way along your journey, is these things where you get these little hints that, hey, this is where I need to be. And again, it's following that passion, I really do believe that your passion will pin you to your purpose. If you can
Well,
figure that out and follow it. So I love that. So now with you being here in the United States, is the academy still running there in Nigeria?
yes, sir. It's still running, and that was why before I left, the bigger vision that I have, like to build. I mean, if you look at the website of the academy now, MidasFootballAcademy.com, you're going to see the vision because it's written very, very clearly, just according to what he said in Ephesians 2:3, right? Like, write the dreams down, make sure you keep following it, and then because I just did a plan, I should put it there what we want to achieve in the future, in the nearest future, where we can have like 120 boys, take them out of the street every 3 years, train them both with the skills and for them to be able to also learn the game, because you can always fall back on talent. Talent is never enough. There is always a way for you to learn some other things. Imagine if I'm only just a broadcaster. I mean, how will I survive in America? Because I don't talk like an American. I don't have the education. So that will give you that some limitation. But thank God for other skills that you have and you'll be able to train yourself with. So you'll be able to diversify into other things. So the academy is still running. We have a bigger vision for it. But now it's just running on a low level. But I've also used the opportunity to start building my tech company that you mentioned earlier, Scoutballers Soccer Recruiting here in America. And right now we launched it in 2017. We have about 1,450 players already registered on the platform. But we need to move it to a minimum viable stage whereby we can really test the product, we can earn some money, and then be able to go out there and advertise. It's about marketing. Nobody's going to know Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram today if they didn't have the necessary resources to really get out there and talk about their product, right? So my focus now more is on Scoutballers to be able to, because that's another area where a lot of change is needed. Do you know that about 90% of soccer players, not just in America, but in the entire world, do not have a film of their games, right? If you are talking to a scout or a college coach that, hey, coach, I want to come play for your team, the first thing that coach is going to ask you is, show me your game video. And over the years, a lot of people that have been talking to me, I asked them, where's your game? They don't have it. So that's a huge market for us that we are entering. But like I said, there's always a need for investors to come in. And it's very hard to attract investors when you are young and when you're new. And more importantly, if you're an immigrant. But all those things are not, I don't think it's an excuse for me. I don't take any excuses. I just go out there, work, keep knocking, and then someday it's going to be open and then you're going to be found out. So my focus for now is building that platform and really let people use it. Our market share is over 5 million people that needs that particular product. So we need to build it to a minimum viable stage and then be able to go out there. So I'm working with my team right now to develop the platform. Hopefully, but before the end of the summer, we'll be able to launch the MVP, and then people will hear a lot about us. So watch out for Scoutballers, and of course, within the time too, the book that you're talking about, Roadmap. I've been writing the book since 2012, putting all my experience traveling to Europe, going to tournaments, really experiencing what it takes for an athlete to become a success. Because a lot of people do not believe in the process. They believe it happens. Just think about it, dream about it. You want to be the next Messi. I know you don't know much about soccer, but if I mention Ronaldo, you know him.
Exactly.
If I mention, you know him. If you don't know any other person, why do we know those people? Because they are the highest. They are the best athletes today. What made them to be the best? Discipline, right? A lot of people are not focusing on this part. So those are the information and database and research that are comprised in the book that I put in there. So that's the little I can tell you for now regarding that.
Yeah, that's so awesome, man. I love the people who I'm connecting with to do these interviews because their energy and their passion just bleeds through, and it's people who are doing some things. They're not people who are in neutral or waiting for things to happen. They're making things happen. So I love that. So in everything that you have going on with your businesses and being an author, what was one of the biggest challenges that you faced in the formation of of your business, be it the first one up until now? What's the biggest challenge you think in formulating a business?
Well, all of them have had challenges, and we're still having challenges. As I told you now, that apart from the book that is out there, that probably what is needed for the book mostly now is the advertising, right? Every other one is still a developing company, it's still growing. It's still not established yet. For example, for the academy, the major challenge is the fact that the leadership in the country are not focused on what used to make the country great, right? What used to make Nigeria great? I mean, if nobody knows about Nigeria, about a lot of countries in Africa, they know about Nigeria. Why? Because in America alone, Nigerians are almost 70% of the medical industries. They are huge. Almost all the doctors in America, about 70% of them are of Nigerian descent, Mike. Check it out. That's how huge, that's how talented we as a people are. But the leadership of the country are not focused on what we used to have as our greatness no more. For kids playing soccer, it's what gives them that opportunity to be able to burn their energy. That energy they have between the age of 6 and 18, the age of adolescent, you have to let them express themselves through sports, either by running, either by playing different game. But rather than provide all these amenities for the youth, the government are more focused on building churches, building gas stations. So most of the land that we're supposed to use to help these kids to for them to train are being sold. So, for example, for me to be able to buy land, because my target is to buy like 12 acres of land where we can build a facility, we have to go buy it in a maybe one suburb where not many people live. That's how bad it is right now. So those areas are a huge challenge where governments are not focused, but we are not blaming government, but we believe we are responsible for ourselves. For us to be able to make any mark, we have to be able to do things a different way. We cannot break the law, but rules can be broken, right? The only thing you shouldn't break is the law. If you break the law, you're going to be punished for it. But you can break rules. Rules can be shattered.
Right.
So any rule that they have, we can always go through it the other way. That's for the academy. For the Scoutballers soccer recruiting, it's been, for me, the major challenge, because the idea has been conceived since 2015. And I'm sure you know that a technology product involves you to be very fast. There must be speed in it, and you must have money. They go hand in hand. If you have a tech product idea, you must have a great developing team that can develop the platform for you fast. How do you get the great developers? You must have money. And then if you have the money, the speed is going to happen as well. So for me, I'm not a developer. I'm a sales guy. I can sell any product, right? Of course, that has to do with sports or soccer.
Right.
It's not every product, because you have to have an area of expertise, right?
Right.
Having someone to believe in the idea as a developer, like, oh, look, bro, I'm willing to go with you on this. Most of them want some money and then equity. And I don't have this money. And in America, if you don't work, you don't get to pay your bills. So you have to always do something. As I'm talking to you right now, I still have a full-time job, bro. I have a full-time job that I do, and I still build my business. So that doesn't stop me from having my dream. So having an investor that will invest in you also means that your product has to be out there. The investor have to see the bigger picture and believe in it, and then be able to support you. So those are the challenges that I have had, and I'm still having till date. But of course, like I said, with the passion, with never give up spirit, with the immigrant spirit in me, because I have seen immigrants come here and do great things. So why should I be an exception? I believe it's just a matter of time. We're going to get there.
Definitely. I like that, because even in that challenges, you explain that process. You said that a lot of people, especially youth and adults as well, don't trust that process. It's one of those things where we think it's just this thing. Oh, if I think about it, it's just going to come. But there is a level of work, that goes with it.
Work.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So With all the challenges that you face with your business, and the things you're doing on a daily basis, let's flip that. One of the most satisfying things of being an entrepreneur, of running your businesses, being an author? What is one of the most satisfying things for you?
Oh, the peace, bro. The number one for me is the peace
Mm,
and the thought of you knowing that you are doing the right thing, that you are a part of the change. All the things that we have today, including the beautiful shirt you have on, was a thought of someone, right? Someone
hmm
thought it. The fact that you are blessed with that gift of you being able to be a thinker, that okay, I can do something else. Everything we see is all imagination. They were all imagination, including our mobile phone and all that, before they existed. So the ability for me to be able to think every day when I'm done with my full-time job, and I know I still have to put in 4 or 5 hours in my business, and I believe in that in the next 2 3 years I'm gonna retire from all those other hustle and just hustle on this one. Is a great, 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 great joy for me. I'm always very excited. When you told me that you want to do this, I was excited. I didn't read nothing because everything I want to tell you is coming from the inside,
Right.
natural. You're not thinking about it. That is the joy, and that's what also tells you that you are on the right path, because you always have to believe in that one. And then the fact that I believe that if doing this, I inspire the young people out there. Somebody's going to watch this right now and get inspired. Like, oh,
hmm
that guy with all the challenges he has had, he's still willing to keep going. I mean, because no matter how many times you punched, get up and keep going. So those things for me are enough. And then the fact that at the end of the day we can make some money makes it really, really, really worth the while and worth all the stress.
I love, man, I love it. Everything you're saying, that peace and then joy. I really love that. And it's one of the things that, that's the part I've said this in previous interviews. And when I talk to people, just period, who's, thinking about business and everything, I say, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but for those who can do it and make it
No,
work and have that grit, it's that satisfying part of it, that peace, like you said, that joy. And at the end of the day, making some money doing what you love to do, or what you're passionate about, it always
yes.
makes it worth it. So I really love that, man. So with all that, man, we're going to ride that wave, man, that joy and that peace. So what is some advice that you would give that person who's watching this? Like you said, they're inspired, that youth, or that person who's there right now, they're maybe watching this at their job and they're thinking, I want to start this business. If he can do it, I can do it as well. What is some advice that you would give someone that's wanting to start a business or wanting to jump into entrepreneurship? What is some advice that you would give someone?
Well, there are a couple of them. This is going to be a little bit long. One of them is what we've discussed at the beginning. What am I willing to give up?
Mm,
Like I told you, story about my personal life. I gave up a lot of things, Mike. I don't want to go there. You have to make an ultimate sacrifice. There is always a price to pay. That is number one. You must be willing. When I first had this was as far back as 2003 or 4. I didn't know what the person was talking about. But when I stepped in to that shoe, like, okay, I'm about to become an entrepreneur, that was when I started understanding what that person meant about sacrifice. You will give up a lot of things, but you will give up one thing that will hurt you for a long time, that will still be hurting you even when you become successful. There will always be that. So if you are not someone that likes to take risk or that is willing to make a sacrifice, don't do it. You said it earlier, bro, that you have to always feel that joy, that, okay, at the end of the day, you relax and you feel that peace. It takes a level of process to get to that level. So sacrifice is first, then discipline, which is also part of sacrifice. What do I used to do that I will have to stop doing? to be able to achieve this. For example, if you want to write a book, for example, you have to be a reader. You have to be a reader. If you cannot read, how can you write a book? Because if you write the book, who's going to read your book if you do not practice what you're preaching, right? I can show you the one I'm reading right now. I just finished, let me show you. I just finished a book by Russell Simmons yesterday called Do You. Right now I'm reading this one. It's a book about leadership. This is the man that changed the United Arab Emirates, that made it to become from a desert that used to be in 1992, when I was probably like 12 years old, to today. That's the fastest growing economy after China, because they keep building all these high rises. So you have to be a reader either way. Either you want to build a business or you're trying to do something, you must read to understand what's going on out there. You must be willing to give up a lot of things, discipline. And then this mobile phone that we have, it's enough for you to start. Mm-hmm. Do not wait for when you're gonna have money. Bro, okay, I'm saying it positively now today that, okay, I'm very rich, right? I'm very rich,
right,
in being right. Don't wait until you're rich. Don't wait for it. Start now. Start with what you have and where you are. It doesn't matter how hard it is. It is hard for every one of us. It is very, very hard. But you have to just do that. Tweet your idea, share your idea with the world, because that's when your idea becomes manifested. If you do not share your idea with the world, it will be manifested. And like my mentor always say again, I always refer to him. Dr. Miles Monroe is late now. He said, your idea will be tested by life for authenticity if it is real. So if your idea is tested and during that test you gave up, then that's it. Mm-hmm. Do not give up, because when you put your idea out, some people will say, what is he talking about? What is this? But keep going. Just look at all the biggest companies today. Hear their stories. Mm-hmm. I listened to John Zima the other day, the founder of Lyft, of how he started as a college student doing a taxi business in the college, and people were like, oh, so this guy want to be a taxi driver now? Look at him today. Just look at him today. Right. This dude is under 40 years old, and the company is huge. So people will always talk about your idea. So discipline, willing to pay that ultimate sacrifice, the sacrifice in it, starting now is very, very crucial. So go ahead, start, never give up, believe in your dreams, and of course, share your idea with the world. Share it. Your idea will be tested. Don't forget that. It's going to be tested, but never, ever, ever give up on it.
Wow. Look, that was a free TED Talk, people. I hope people will go back and just that part alone, that last little question, that answer segment, I want people to go back and see that and take notes. I'm definitely going to do that, because so much of what you said, man, that is it. That's the key. And it echoes the sentiments of many people who are in business, who are starting out, who's been in it for years. That's all the ingredients to making this thing work. So I love it. Listen, man, everybody who's watching, I want y'all to know that the passion that you hear and everything that my brother is talking about, a lot of that can be found in his book. So I just want to make that clear that I finished it. This book is awesome because I would say it's an easy read, being someone, if you've never even heard of football or soccer, it's easy to follow. And one thing you mentioned too is that it really does sum up that, that process across the board for any athlete, because some of those things that you talk about, especially in your advice towards the end of the book, that can go across the board. And so I encourage parents, coaches, teachers, advisors, counselors, athletes to make sure they get the book, because it really is some good information. And as y'all heard in earlier, 12 years of knowledge in that book, and you hear the credentials that Bayonle has. So this is stuff that he knows. This is not just, I want to write a book about something that I don't know. So I'm so excited, man, for the book in and of itself, because for me, my thing is, I love sports. So I watch any sport, right? But it's one of those things where I don't know as much about football or soccer as I do about some of the other sports. I can still watch it and enjoy, but just reading the book, it gave me so much background about football across the world. It's like, oh, wow, even some of the big time athletes that maybe some people haven't heard of. So, that's really good. So in speaking on that, the book and everything you're doing, how you're building Scoutballers right now, what's next? What's next for you and your businesses, your speaking, your authorship? I see some great things coming because the book, again, is so well written. And, just, again, connecting with you here in the last few months, when I went down the rabbit hole of everything that is you, I was like, wow, brother has done interviews and stuff all over the world. So what's next for you, man, with your businesses and everything that you have going on? What's next?
Thank you, bro. I appreciate your endorsement of the book, as you said. Let me just add one thing to that before I tell you what's next. Look, this book is not just, yes, it's written for soccer players in particular, but you said it, though, that it also goes across the board for any sport. Like whatever sport you do, the system is the same, right? It's the same. And I'm sure more Americans are going to watch this than other parts of the world. So get a copy of it, read it, digest it, share feedback. I'm not just writing a book for you whereby I'm not going to be there. And I also promise at the end of the day, there is a database of over 2,000 college coaches and university coaches and football clubs that I'm going to give to you for free for buying the book for $11.99. So I'm going to give to you for free. I have that. So that's for that. The next thing for me right now, believe it or not, Mike, I'm thinking about a second book, right? Because somebody said that, like, all it takes is for you to do one. The second book is, whenever I try to talk about it, it's a little bit, it's always very emotional for me. And I know maybe you don't know this about me, but you're going to know right now. I have daughters and I have one son, right? And my son growing up in America of today, I'm a little worried, right? I'm a little worried because at the moment, I said it when I was introducing myself, that I serve people of Texas. Maybe nobody will ask as what. Right now, I work as a correctional officer in the prison system. Working in the prison system, I've never seen anything like that. I'm going to be 40. I'm sure by the time this thing is going to be on in the next few days, right? And in almost my 4 decades on earth, I have never been as enlightened as I was when I started working in the prisons. In 2 ways. The inmates, they have a story, right? They have a story behind the reason why they are there. Also, the people doing the job, the officers. Oh, man, it's a hard job, bro. It is hard. It's mentally exhausting. Hearing the stories, going through what these guys are going through. Some have been there, I've been locked up for 40 years, some for 5 years, some for 3 days. I want to share my story for them about my experience working in the criminal justice department system. So a lot of young kids out there, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, growing up in America today, can understand the reason why they should never go into anything bad that will take them to prison. You go to prison, that's the end of your life. There is no, believe it or not, there is nothing else. That's the end. A few of them come out and do something with their life, but if you can avoid going, you should avoid it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm writing a book about that. It might not be ready in, God knows, I don't know when it's going to be ready, but that will be coming out. I'm sharing that with you again. Now, just as I said earlier, that share your idea with the world, right? It's something I'm thinking about. It's something I've already started working on, but I don't know when it's going to happen. About my business, Scoutballers is at the moment my focus, right? I shared it in the book as well, like the part of the process. If you really want to get things done, you have to also be part of the solution. The greatest challenge is athletes not knowing what they need to do to be able to take their career to the next level. Why also the colleges, the soccer clubs, the clubs are also struggling in getting talents. So what the platform simply does is to make it easy for both athletes and the clubs to find each other, and for the clubs to spend less money to find talent, right? If the club is in Alabama, Birmingham, for example, looking for a talent for in a department for their colleges or for their program, all you need to do is to log on to Scoutballers, look at the available talents, invite him or her to trials in your club instead of you traveling down there to see him and then come to see him. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to build the MVP and share out with the world, and then we'll start growing from there. So I'm focused on that now. And of course, sharing the book with as many people as possible, talking about my experience in the soccer industry, and of course, working in the criminal justice department system. I'm very, 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 very concerned about it because I didn't say this at the beginning. I'm a soccer referee with the Soccer Federation. I'm a 7+ referee. I'm always refereeing the high school and, of course, weekend in the youth league. I see a lot of young folks with not good behavior, you know. So, and as a referee, you're also a teacher. You have to, as little as you can, teach them on the field. Teach them. So I want to share it with everyone. Share the idea. Share my experience, and advise you. But I can't tell you what to do. But I can advise you on what road will not take you to that height you want to get to in life. Right. So this is what I'm focused on in the next video. Hoping to speak at a lot of events. Hoping to meet you personally and be on the same stage with you to share our ideas with the youth on how their life can really be better, especially if you're a person of color. I have to say that if you're Black, Hispanic, Indian American, you have to be aware. Be aware that yes, you're an American, but there is this challenge is there. People, right. Now we're having the discussion, right, that nobody wants to do before. But do not say because they're discussing it that it's going to stop. Totally. It might reduce, but it's not going to stop. So how are you going to be able to shift your own mindset from letting it be that, oh, I'm hurt because this thing happens to me, by you just being focused on you and just go get your own share of the world. So this is what I intend to do in the next few years that I'm still going to be here for, hopefully.
I love that, man. And like you said, just excited the day I meet you and to be able to share in the same space with you, just, you know, the encouraging the youth and letting people know about our stories and the energy and passion that we have to give, man. So I'm excited, man. Even for what you're doing with Scoutballers, because I think that's missing. First of all, because football is not as, I guess I would say, I'm not going to say mainstream because the fanship is huge and is growing more and more.
It is.
But just that whole process of recruiting and, you know, matriculating from youth clubs to professional, I think that's missing in terms of at least what I see, just being a fan of all sports. And so I'm excited. I'm so excited for that, man, and for people to be able to see more of that and link up. So I want you to take this opportunity, let people know how they can find you, how they can follow you and see everything that's going on with your businesses, with the book. Just take this time to let people know how they can find you, man, and how they can hook up with you.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much, man. Very simple. It's just my name, BayonleArashi.com. That's my website. If you get to my website, you can find me on all the platforms, and on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm very active because, once again, if you are willing to be a leader in any, you have to be willing to share whatever you're thinking, whatever your thought is. I'm the same name on all those platforms. So you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Bayonle Arashi. And website is BayonleArashi.com. And then that's just about it. And every other thing we can discuss from there. Like I said, I'm looking forward to be able to share what I have learned over the years with a lot of young people. That should be our focus.
Yeah.
That should be our focus. That should be our focus. As a parent, you cannot parent your child alone. You need them. That's why they go to school. That's why they do sports. That's why they have social life. Let them learn from other people, from others. Let them know life is not going to be easy, regardless of what you choose to do. Either you choose to be a worker in the corporate America, or you choose to be an entrepreneur, or you choose to be a service provider in one area or the other. you have to learn a process of getting to that, to be an excellent person in that area of specialty that you're focused on. So this is what I intend to share, bro. And that's how you can find me, basically.
Love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Look, people, I'm telling you, connect with Bayonle. I'm telling you, everything he puts out, you feel that passion. His heart for connecting and with people is amazing. So I definitely want you to check out his website and see what he has going on. And of course, again, a reminder to get the book. Get the book. An amazing book. And just where you're going with your authorship, I love that. Already thinking of a second book, and just what, a few weeks, months, hot off the presses, and you're on to the next one. So I love that. Again, that's that passion. Yeah, that's that passion spilling over. I think you're the second person who I talked to. They're starting their second book, and I'm like, here I am sitting on the idea, start on my first, and you're doing your second. So I appreciate that. That's my inspiration.
What it takes for you to finish the first one, Mike. Finish the first one. You'll see. Come to you. I think is the law of the universe. It's gonna come naturally. You've completed the first one because you don't want to believe how hard I breathed the day I launched it, and I received the copy. I'm like, wow. So it happened, right? So that's what it takes. Just finishing it is hard. I mean, we've talked about it in this interview. Getting something done is hard, regardless of what area you choose. It is hard, but the ability to be able to do it, regardless of how hard it is, that's what it takes.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Look, man, again, brother, I so appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm excited to continue doing this segment because I think it's important because, again, this is where I established this, and I wanted this to be where people get some of that behind the scenes and get some of the things that they don't really see. They see Midas Football Academy. They see Scoutballers. They see your book, but they don't see the behind the scenes, the challenges in these things, and to know you. It's almost like the saying, putting the name to face. I put the face to the name. And so it gives that kind of that roadmap to how you, to success. So I love it, man. I thank you so much. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Of course, in the description, I'm going to put all the ways to link up and to see what's going on with everything that my brother has going, definitely. And thank y'all so much again. And I appreciate you. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Black Business Booming. Peace.